Praise the Lord, everybody. Say hey, babes.
Hey, babe.
um, Come on in. When you come in, uh, please go to our Facebook page and share it with somebody so that they can be a part of what you are about to experience. We've been getting so many um, text messages and Facebook messages of how much this is blessing people. And I know you want other people to experience this. This was going to be good. This was going to be very transparent and practical so that you can be able that we endeavor to be practical so you can really like take this with you and say, you know what? I got something to work with. I've got something from that I can apply to my own life, to my marriage, to my relationship, my children, my friends. We've been hitting all areas of relationships. So for those who just thought it would be about marriage, it's not. We've been hitting all areas of relationships. And stop sweating, Mom, Portia, to my love the hat. It's been very impactful. I've loved it. And we've talked about this. We're gonna continue this even after we shift back to just teaching Wednesday. Me and Coach K are gonna start a Thursday podcast, Facebook, YouTube live ish. That's her way of saying it thing, because I think this is really helpful. And these really are conversations we have outside of the camera that now we just bringing them on the camera. It's not made up. These are real conversations we have. I also have you been enjoying the weirdo evangelistic month? It's been so crazy good. I think we're about it to 60 people who have received Jesus salvation, and not 60 people came for prayer. 60 people gave their hearts to Jesus, and we're shooting for. We have another Sunday, and we're shooting for something huge. Listen, Sunday, you don't want to miss Sunday. Get there early, get a seat. You
Why do you
don't
keep
want to
saying
miss
that
Sunday
every Sunday?
because it is going. It's climbing, and Sunday is going to be stupid crazy. Like I'm nervous that it's gonna be so. It's gonna be good, and y'all know I'll go way overboard with it, so I don't care. But I got crazy people that's running with me to make it come to pass. And it's gonna be super dope. So don't miss Sunday. There will be Pastor Tanya is going to do something, a link on the app or something she's going to create, or our website. We have a website where we are signing people up for baptism, and it is projected to be April 13th. So whatever way, if we have to shift the date or not, you still will be on the paper schedule for baptism, but we're scheduling it. I know we're different. I don't care. That's Palm Sunday. We're going to baptize on Palm Sunday. Praise the Lord. And it's going to be dope. We're planning on getting the football field and making it really, really, really good. It's going to be awesome. So as many people can be baptized, this is the time to do it. So we're planning for that Sunday. I don't think we have anything else like popping. Am I missing something? I don't have anything else.
April 19th.
Oh, Friday I'll be preaching at Fountain of Truth Revival. There it is with Pastor Dale McBean. And if you want to come to that, you can. It'll be a great blessing. Amen. What are you gonna say, babe?
April 19th, we have the I Am My Sister Save the Date. The park that we had, it wouldn't let us get that, so we'll get back with you, and by Sunday we'll have the location.
And we are preparing for Resurrection Sunday on the 20th. We have something special. If you want to be a part of that thing that's special, you can connect on the app, the church app. Go to the creatives and ask to be a part of the creators. We're looking for actors, actresses. We're looking for giftings, whatever you can bring to the table. It's not off limits. We're looking for you. Thank you. My daughter's apartment takeover is April 12th. Apartment takeover is April 12th. That's a who?
A lot.
That Friday, the Saturday is department takeover. Yeah. And we need participation with that so that you could be able to assist. Also, you do know every Sunday morning we are out with our friends without home on Paramore, the corner of Church Street in Paramore. We are right there, and hundreds of people come for ministry, for prayer, for conversation, for coffee. We serve them coffee and snacks, sheets to lay on, clothing. There's a whole one lady didn't have shoes, and she came over there and walked away with some shoes, and just things like that. And if you ever need a refocusing, if you ever need balancing, if you ever need to recalibrate your emotions and you feeling down and out, come on out there with us. I promise when you leave there, you will be so grateful. Your whole attitude will change. And many times that's the reason I go for an attitude adjustment. So it's going to be awesome.
And the singles are going bowling this Sunday right after church. So,
oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm going.
They're going.
Oh, let me not say that.
Yeah.
This. So the apartment takeover will be, Dorian or Elder Shelton. You can see Dorian or Elder Shelton for the apartment takeover. Anybody in LOL, they're taking over Beacon Hill Apartments. We've gotten permission, and they are already going to put this advertisement to all of their residents there. So we're going to serve the residents in that area and let them know about Jesus. So we need people help. We need prayer stations. We can't go knock on doors and evangelize, but they can come up for prayer if they want. You know what I mean? There's certain stuff they told us, asked us to do and not do, and we want to. But if you come and if you sign up to be a part of that, we'll give you the instructions on what you can and can't do. The LOL is doing an amazing job. All right, we ready? Tanya just sent something else. Okay, singles bowl. All right, you go, babes, because we're talking about parenting. The disclaimer: we have not been perfect in it, and still working, because I think you go through phases. You know, you got the infant, then you got the preteen, and then you got the teenage years, and then you got the young adult, then you got the adults, and I think each phase they get a different version of us, you know, and we get a different version of them. And the ones that don't work are those who don't know how to adjust. They don't know how to adjust. And there are times I didn't know how to adjust, and I'm pretty sure you could say that too. They know how to adjust to their growth and our growth. And it requires a new set of rules and boundaries and contact and communication. You know, they don't live with us, so it's not an everyday, you know what I mean, coming some we don't talk to every day. Even our old, we don't talk. It ain't every day that we have deep conversations. So it's an adjustment you have to make with parenting. So we want to dive in that. And my beloved got some good questions she want to present.
I'm just asking you.
Okay, ask me.
Well, just as you said, there are parents at every.
Go ahead and share, y'all. Y'all need to share.
Every stage and phase of lives. So there are questions that when you have younger kids, from like infants, how do you manage your own sleep and self-care? What's the support with early bonding and attachment? There are certain things that you are going to have to go through, because I'm realizing I myself, just as you said, we're parenting now adult kids and we're pretty much empty nesters. So it's a different phase for us, with not telling people what to do or saying, okay, we have dinner this night and we have vacation now. Now we have to wait for everyone's schedule to be synced, and they have their own lives. And I realized, like, even for myself, like I know I parent a lot like my mom. She's very hands off. Meaning my mom does not.
Does that make one a bad parent?
No, I just think that that's just who they are. And I have even, the Bible calls us a fool when we compare ourselves to others. But because I didn't biologically have kids, I thought, like, okay, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Because the things that the mother who carries a child, sometimes they have that organic instinct. And I didn't have those instincts. I didn't have natural instincts. I didn't have it to where I called and checked on my pregnant friends, because it's not that I didn't care, I didn't relate. So, it has been looked at, like, frowned upon, like, you're not checking on the pregnant people in your life. Or when they have the kids, I don't relate to babies, even now with our grandbaby, we best friends now. But that infant throw up,
that was me. I did the changing, I did the bottle, I did all of that.
And you're still going to do that
with the new
right? Because I just don't have that naturally, and I had to learn to be okay with the best version.
How did you learn to be okay with that when some people would, oh, you can do that, you don't want to do that, that's your grandbaby?
Well, because instead of taking it personal, like, it's the constructive criticism that I will change it, but I want to throw up, and I just had to learn to be okay with this is who I am. And I can't be, who other people want me to be, but I can stretch and be, and I don't have to compare myself. I'm not the micromanager. I'm not the helicopter parent. I'm not going to call you and, did you do this? Did you do that? I didn't see that, but I also am not that. I'm not that person with friends that I call and talk to every day. So with my kids, for me, I feel like it's a good job when they're not calling and blowing up my phone asking and begging for stuff, or can't handle life. So for me, it's like the less of that, it makes me feel confident of the training that when we did have time to have them in our house. Because now that I'm looking, each child with the three of them have had their alone time with us in the house. So they've been, like PJ was there, Jara was there, and now Vivi, before she buys her place, it's like being in place, and we're able to pour into them individually and for preparation.
Come on, give me your questions, because
my question is, okay, how do you recover and rebuild after parenting missteps?
Oh, Jesus.
Because so many, now that we're grandparents, we're like saying, oh, now we're getting it. Because for me, it's like learning from our kids as they parent. Like, we need to follow their lead. But what would you do now, looking back? How do you recover and rebuild after making parenting or having parenting missteps?
Be with humility. I think, I was raised by baby boomers, so baby boomers didn't apologize. Definitely the silent generation didn't apologize. And so now I don't think that was good, nor does it work. So I would, with humility, I would apologize. I would listen more. I would hear more. I would not be a situational parent. I would be
what is that?
What are the situational, and you were more of a what's the other word I used? Situational, or in other words, somebody that's continuously parenting and pouring into their children. I was situational. If we got a situation, I'm gonna deal with it. whether you're in trouble or you need praise in that moment, or I need to discipline you or what. I was situational. So if ain't no situation, why you bother me? You ain't gotta bother me. I ain't gonna bother you. Do what you do. Until a man, we sit in the house until somebody you hear something break, he ain't even gonna move. The dad ain't gonna move. He watching TV. What y'all doing up there? That's all it's gonna be the whole time. Hey, y'all too loud. When there's a situation. But you came in and taught me a different way of parenting, which was intentional. That's the word I'm looking. You gotta help me. You are an intentional parent. Intentional means when you pick them up from school, radio off, talk to me. Let's talk, have conversation on the way home. To me and PJ riding the car, we turning the music up, listen to some Lecrae bumping our head. We not talk. That's how we bonding and vibing, and every new album come out. But I wish I would have had more conversations. I wish I would have. But my situation also was a little unique, that I was going through so much trauma with their mother that it distracted me from being intentional. And some people now, your marriage is so messed up that you can't intentionally parent. You are going from one situation to the next, just putting out fires. I have to commend, I always tell how great of a parent our daughter-in-law is, with the way that she interacts with Sugar and is intentional, and the discipline and the way that the playtime, I mean, it's very structured. And I think that structure allows them to mature faster and to grow faster than if it's a house where there is no structure, where the children just run ragged to do whatever they want to do. Our grandbaby is expressive and all these different type of things. So I think I would be, with humility, I would be apologetic, and I would listen more. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, especially when you're young, you just be trying to make it through the day. You be trying to make it through the week. You be just trying to get by, and we don't stop and to say, you know what, let me be intentional about pouring into my son, pouring into my daughter, speaking into their lives, finding out where they are. I don't even think I asked, with all the stuff me and their mother went through, I don't think we've had long, deep conversations on, okay, how did that make you feel? We started having them when you came into the picture. How did that make you feel when that happened? When they different things they saw with their mom because of her mental illness and different things they went through. I just think parents need mentoring, and they don't pause enough to get mentoring while they're parenting. They wait till grandkids come and talk about everything that they shouldn't have done, like we're doing right now.
Right. Because for me, I just did not extend the grace or understanding to my mother until I became a mother. I had such unrealistic expectations for her, and my disappointment that I did not know how to express. I thought it was anger. It was not. It was just, I was disappointed in choices and the way life panned out for us with her choices, because I really see how relationships can distract adults from having intentional relationships with their kids. You have some people whose friends are just way too involved. They're too involved in everybody else's life, and the people around them are suffering. So for me, it's just accepting the fact that I don't have all the answers. And I was okay with that.
Well, that's what Nick, snatch those questions as you see them. I see some people putting questions. Well, that's the problem most parents do. They think instinct means capable.
Right.
And instinct doesn't mean capable. It just means for a woman that your body has now developed milk for the baby and a certain affection and love for them. That doesn't mean that you know how to be a parent. For the father, oh, I love it. I mean, I didn't think I could love anything the way that I love when my first child was born, then my second child. I didn't think I had the capacity. Love shifted a gear. And that's how dads are. They're so proud. But that don't mean you're ready. That don't mean you're capable. I think we need parents need mentorship. You need somebody that you can talk to, someone that would challenge you, not just identify what you've done wrong, because you'd be amazed on what you don't know until you learn a different way. You need mentorship. You don't know what you're doing. It's more than just feeding them, putting them to sleep, and kissing them and hugging them. But they need more than that. They need more than that. And if we don't, because simple things like loving them to the capacity that they are delayed with crawling and delayed with walking because your love is the wrong kind of love, or you're having a child to find someone that will love you unconditionally, because a baby will love their mama unconditionally, and some mothers give birth to experience that because they've never experienced that in their life. And then some, when their children are of a little age, they now depend on their children and put the weight and the responsibility of that parent's emotional wherewithal. They put it on that child. If your child is coming to you, continues to ask, "Are you okay, mama? How you doing?" They are shouldering your emotional state. They should not have to. Your child shouldn't be your confidant, shouldn't be your best friend, shouldn't be your home. They should. I remember Jara asked me one time, "Daddy, are you my friend?" I said, "I am not your friend." This when she was little. "I'm not your friend. I'm your daddy." I want to be clear, because Jara is one who would push the envelope. Like with everything, she is going to try you. You're going to have to show her if you mean what you say. She's going to push the envelope and then be scared as I don't know what when she take you there. I think it's I think it's important. My daughter Vivi, she doesn't push the envelope. She's going to say the right thing in front of you, but do what she want to do when she leave from you. I think I got her when she was a teenager, and she's still been that way, and she's a grown woman now. But as a teenager, she was the same way. She gonna have manners, yes sir, no sir, but still do exactly what she want to do. My son PJ just gonna find out on his own. So I think it's very, very important that we get help with developing these children, because it is true. It does take a village.
Yes. How do you talk to your kids about your own past mistakes?
With wisdom and in bite size that they can chew. If I find myself confiding in them, is dangerous. If I find myself telling them way too much at a certain age, then I put my situations on them, and that makes them shoulder something that they're not mature enough to handle. I have to be able to have those conversations on their level. I have to be able to share on their level, and when I do that, it's beneficial to them. When I don't, then it paints a perfect picture that's not accurate.
Now, what do you mean by that? A perfect picture? By not sharing your
kids think that they thought I could do anything. My kids thought I could leap over tall buildings and catch bullets with my teeth, and that wasn't true. It wasn't a reality. I do come from, just as my mother, strong personality, strong long suffering that can endure a lot. Like I said, I've never seen my mom cry, but one time when she had a hysterectomy, and when she had that's the only time I saw her really beat down. Other than that, I've only seen a held together type woman. And I think that's sometimes dangerous, because healthy parenting is kids knowing weaknesses and strengths.
Right.
Learning from. I've heard couples say, me and my wife, we've never argued in front of the children. Well, I think that's unhealthy. I think your children should see you not fight, beating on each other, but I think your children should see you disagree and see you make up. I think they should see you have heated or tough conversations and then come to a desired conclusion. So they will understand it's nothing wrong if we're having, and my wife is very animated and dramatic when she's talking. It doesn't matter if you think she's mad and awful, but she just dramatic, right? Yes, all of that. So and she's gonna modulate. So
Right.
kids would think, oh God, they fussing. What is going on now? We about to get a divorce. It's about no, then we come out the room laughing because we done got to the end of it and now we're good. I think it's important that they see restoration, reconciliation.
Yes,
I think
yes.
they should see disagreement,
Yeah.
healthy disagreement, and then coming back and reconciling or understanding each other. I think that's healthy.
That was so key for me because me just coming in when they're 9 and 11, it's I gotta get in where I fit in, and I didn't know all these uh the rules that are unwritten. So for me, if I was having a bad day, I didn't close the door. Like, look, I'm having a bad
Oh yeah,
day,
you expressed
and
that. You was expressing
or
that was different for
it's
me.
that time of the month, and so PJ, go to the store and get this.
That was different for me. I'm gonna say that was different for me because I had not met a person that was so expressive as you, and I mean about whatever. Like she lets me know when she's off kilt, on kilt. She let the kids know and made my son assist. Now, if I was single, I would have never done that to him. But that's now helps him with his wife. I think sons should know open doors for their sisters. That's teaching them something. Don't sit up there and let them slam the door on her.
Jara used to get mad, like I could open my own door.
Just leave that door. I have to let him open that door for you.
Right.
I'm teaching him and teaching her to want a man who's going to do that,
right,
who's going to have chivalry, and who's going to honor her, and who's going to respect, okay, it's that time of the month, and not just go off, but know what to do. Let me get her snacks and bring them together. That's the emotional side that a man has to be taught.
And two, also having with my girls, like I've said, because at one point they really just thought you were Superman, and that is good as it
strokes one's ego, but it ain't good.
I'm sure. Yeah. But I had to say, you see that man right there? That's your daddy, but that's my husband. Behind closed doors, I'm the one who is, not saying that I'm God, but I'm molding this into what it is that I need.
Yeah.
So y'all gonna have to have the propensity and capacity to mold that one who findeth you.
You still tell them girls that's my husband.
Sure is. They like they used to get mad, like, but the door is locked because this is my husband. Things like that on purpose to where, remember, I used to say, I'm so sick of you and your husband, but that's mine. And that was because in the beginning, I knew enough that we needed to be an alliance. We needed to be one. So they knew that they could never use us against one another. And we taught them that, whatever dad says. And then, they'll be like, well, you already know mom said blah, blah, blah. But it taught, it was us to say in front of them, it's me and you.
Now, you and I had different parenting styles, and it frustrated the mess out of you sometimes.
Oh,
because you are more strict and I'm
disciplined,
and I'm more loosey-goosey,
lenient.
and so how did we come to working together with different? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. Because privately we had to, because again, when I came, remember, you were parenting out of guilt.
Facts.
So to come in, I didn't
Let them pause that. I was parenting out of guilt. I remember, and this is good for somebody, because I thought me and their mother had took them through so much hell. When the divorce was final and the kids were living with me, I was raising them. I was kind of thinking, man, they need a break. Like, I lay off, wouldn't be on them like I should. And I remember vividly you saying to me, a break is the last thing they need.
Right.
That was so shocking to me, but I was starting to parent out of guilt. Mm-hmm. I was letting them get away with stuff and just out of guilt because I felt like me and their mom had been the problem and I had failed them.
But coming in and me being the auntie mama with so many in my life, I saw that what was needed was structure. What was needed was schedule. What was needed was me to come in. I didn't come in like a force to be reckoned with. Y'all gonna do this or whatever. I remember having a meltdown driving to Daytona. Oh, well, it's the sign said that because I was new to Orlando. And I turned around, I pulled up, and that's when I'm like, we have to have a family meeting. And you were like, they're kids. You can't get on their level, and you have to get in where you fit in. I thought that was so inhumane, but it blessed me because I will take a challenge. And so with that being said, now just implement the change, be the change that I desired. So no, y'all gonna have chores. No, we're going to clean up this house. No, your grades. There were times to where during that time of the training that came with the talks getting in school, they swore Holy Ghost told me everything, but really they told on each other. And I was just the listener. And I used it to my, that I was a parent who manipulated in ways, but it was the information that was needed. I never told on each other. They never, because they stuck together, but I knew how to get information. And that came from them learning how to trust me as a person, a friend, because I was an outsider. So I had to come in and learn how to implement the change. And that came with, like I said, children desire discipline. They need it. Without it, they're array. They're just awry, So it's just, you have to learn, and each child is different. I didn't need this over here with PJ. I didn't need this over here with Jira. It was different. And you learn how to do them because everybody can't get treated or dealt with the same way. So, yeah. And for me, it's just learning how to be honest. I've always been honest with them that I don't know what I'm doing. It took them to tell me in many ways when they like, this is what you need to be doing. And I learned from that. You have to be able to stay in a position of learning. Even now I'm learning, so it's just being like, the question is, how do you talk to your kids about your past mistakes honestly, in the increments, like you said, age appropriate, but to be honest. And I think that
they'll respect it.
Yes. And then it won't be this superhero type expectation, because I can't fly. And I'm not running through hills and leaping over all that stuff, whatever they say, and I don't want to be perceived as that, because I am, my relationship with myself taught me what type of parent I could be as well. So, yeah. So my next question is, in what ways has having children, being a parent, helped and grow you socially or emotionally or both?
I understood my dad when I had my son.
What does that mean?
I gave him so much grace afterwards. I was very critical of my father. And I was critical because, he was a fusser, couldn't do nothing right because, he was coping with his issues. And so I ain't like it.
So explain having two parents and you put all the blame on one.
No, I couldn't put the blame on. She shares the blame too. My mom was super religious, so they when I was talking about Sunday. Yes, I'm talking about you, Dr. May. Yes, so pay attention. Sunday, when they talked about them church, my mom stayed at church, and I felt sorry for my poor sister who was always with her. Probably would be the reason of some disdain she has, because when I started talking about that, she was right there in my face on Sunday because of what she was forced to be a part of, and she had no sense of life. So she didn't. Right. Only reason I had social life is because I played ball. My sister didn't play sports, so her sport was church.
And playing the drums when she was there.
She was at church. Everything, every meeting, every prayer meeting, every Bible study, every conference, everyone, she was dragging my sister there. And so her social connection was church. Mine was sports. So again, I didn't know what emotional IQ was till getting with you. I didn't know that language. I had never heard that. That's not something that was talked about in my home. It's not something that was
Mine either.
Emotional intelligence. What is that? I didn't know what that was.
Yes.
And so having my son, children always, if it not always, children can mature you. If you really, really love them and you want to step up, that's a great opportunity to do that, because now we're bringing responsibilities, and that's causing different emotions to come out, because now I have more responsibilities, not just me. Because at that moment when I saw my son, I found something that I loved more than myself. You know what I'm saying? And I like, as soon as I love more than myself. And so it made me make sacrifices, mature, do what I'm supposed to get myself together, simply because of that.
Right. And so that's why I said there are some parents, like you said, it can mature you, but there are some parents who have had kids and now they're like sisters and brothers. So socially,
that's what Sid Jaquilla says, that she says, I gave my mother and father no grace at all because of my grandparents.
Oh, absolutely. You know why? Because when it comes to the village, without a village is cohesive, Jaquilla, when there are all elements in the garden that are feeding off one another. They're helping. It's the ecosystem.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you put a weed inside of that beautiful green ecosystem, now what that means is, okay, now the kids have grandparents who are raising them for whatever reason. If you are, or aunts or extended family, if that extended family member who is taking responsibility for someone else's child, if they don't have the heart or the grace, compassion, understanding, love for that parent who is missing, they're going to do the children an injustice. And just as you said, because their love is one of protection, but it's not pushing them in a restoration with the biological parents. It's now, this is my baby and I'm keeping them from you because you're going to hurt them. And that may be the case, meaning those parents who have been on drugs or those parents who are abusive, or parents who just don't know how to show up for whatever reason, because that affects you mentally and emotionally. So they think that, oh, I'm just going to just, I'm going to protect my baby. No, you can't can't see them. And that the parental isolation is mental abuse. It's physical, because you are keeping that parent from, and as long as that parent is not killing that child, even if they have a different religion than you, even if they live life different from you, that your child should be exposed to the truth of the other parent or the other side of the family.
I like that.
And that
it's called parental isolation.
Oh yes, when they isolate the children from a parent because I don't want you around me, or you not paying my child support, those trivial things like that.
Oh wow.
What are some beliefs or techniques, things that you've had to unlearn in your parentage to where you are now?
I had to unlearn and give my kids a voice. I came up with shut up, or well, my parents didn't like to say shut up, but be quiet. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing to say about this, or what you talking about. You don't know nothing about. They just didn't have voice, so I had to unlearn that and realize I can't steal their voice. I had to unlearn
because you thought that when I was able to extract certain information from them, or when they started calling you out on certain things that, like you said, being situational, you just could not. You thought that I was like, you just get.
You did.
No, but I mean, what? But do you see the difference of what type of information I was able to get?
I think I had to unlearn that children can question. They can ask questions and inquire. That I ain't always right. See, I grew up in the era, parents are always right. It doesn't matter if they wrong. They could be dead wrong. They right. You sit down. They right. You do what your mama say. They'll come. The mom can be dead wrong. They'll come talk to you afterwards. Well, you know how your mama is, but you don't say that. You don't do. They ain't gonna deal. They're gonna just come to the child to condition the child to live in harmony with the dysfunctional parent. So now they've been made to adjust what's natural. It is natural. You should ask questions respectfully. You should ask, okay, well, why we going over here, mama? Okay, well, why, mama, you said you ain't have no money, and now why we over here then? Or, mama, you were struggling last week. We don't have to go and get this. Why we getting this fast food over here? Why you not cooking it? Oh, shut up, I'll slap you, because they frustrated, you know what I mean? But the child, you don't hush up a child who ask a lot of questions. It's a sign of high intelligence.
Absolutely.
And just because you have low intelligence and low tolerance, that you can't deal with the child that has high intelligence, because highly intelligent children will ask 1,000 questions. Yes. Very inquisitive. Yes. They're very inquisitive. And that's because that's the way their brain is operating. If you have an artistic child, not autistic, an artistic child that loves the arts, and they love music, they are not going to ask a lot of questions because they function on a different side of their brain. So now they do a lot of thinking, they do a lot of internalizing, they do a lot of writing, they do a lot of music, they do a lot of art. That's their out. Yes. But the one who operates on the other side of their brain, the out is, well, what? How does that work?
That was me.
Well, what? Exactly, child. The literal. You're the literal. I'm the artistic. That's why I'm more quiet. My wife could be on the phone talking to somebody for an hour. Then I get home, she's gonna talk another hour with me. And then if I stay there, be too, and I'm trying to go to bed.
Well, you know why? It's because learning, just even with parenting, I have always been taught, again, learning how to read at an early age, that opens you up with your vocabulary and with your thought process. So with the comprehension, it came with me asking questions. And so it always seemed like to other adults that I was too grown or too, whatever. And like you said, they just did not have the answers or have the understanding that just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you can't answer a question. It's not answering to a child. But what's wrong with having that reciprocity? Because it teaches them value. It teaches them self-worth. It teaches them that what I have to say really does matter. So my level of expression socially and emotionally heightens because it was invited where I come from. So that's why even in relationships, you have to make sure that you are with people, even if I'm completely different, you have to accept me, for who I am. I'm a talker, but not with small talk. I don't gossip. No. I don't,
not small talk. It's right. Deep talk can go long.
I abhor small talk. Yes. So yeah. So
but you said I had to unlearn that. I had to unlearn, the huge part is me changing. I had to unlearn that I didn't need to change, and that they had the problem. Or
why? Just automatically.
It's just the culture. Yeah, the parent is, you wrong, they're wrong, and no, I had to realize that I could be wrong. My method could be off. I remember clearly one day it changed my life to where I come home one day and from work, and the kids, came from work. The kids come home from school. As soon as they got here, I'm at them. And just fussing. And Jara said something. She said, well, hey to you too, Daddy. That's, how her mouth was. Talking about, hey to you too. I hadn't said hey or nothing. She's talking about, well, hey to you too, Daddy. A little bit of something I want to knock her upside her head because she had so much mouth. But she was right. I just went in and I was acting like my father because I had become what I was mad with. Whatever you are angry and hold unforgiveness to, you become. And that's why it's important to liberate yourself, is to liberate those who you feel have hurt you. And so when I was acting just like him, and because I was acting just like him, Jara called me out on that. And all my kids have called me out on some stuff before, and I've gotten to the place to where I can I can hear that and not take offense to it or not just get mad, but consider they could have a point. That I don't think they're just bringing it out of the air and just running their mouth. There may be some truth to what they're saying. They might not be all the truth, but there is some truth that they're not hurt from you by osmosis. So that it takes humility as a parent to say, you know what, I'm gonna look at that and I'm gonna see if I, say Vivi called me out one time because it always seems like I was critical of what she was doing. And she made me know. I said, you know what? Let me look into that because that could be it. And I got to adjust that. And you helped me with that. I was harder on her than I would my other kids. And I had to reevaluate that. And that's because of my expectations for her were not in a healthy place.
That's good.
And when you don't have your expectation in a healthy place, you're going to be critical on one child more than the other.
I definitely learned that with my girl child, with my boy. It's like I had no clue that there could be any schisms or anything that would come between the same gender child until they get older and there are different other influences. So that's the question that I have now is like, how do you handle guilt when you feel like you haven't done enough or you're not doing good?
Oh gosh.
How do you handle that? For myself, it's just sitting in it, sitting in it, because there are some things that when you become an adult parent that they bring back to you and you have to like, okay, I'll take that. But then there are also some instances that they have yet to live out life and you're going to have to let them walk that out on their own. So they have some displaced maybe anger or disappointment, and you just never know. Outside influences play a very big role, and that's where our faith comes in. I feel like with faith, I'm never alone. So that has made me feel like in the times when I felt, distance or feel distance, I just have to trust God in that and admit that where I come up short, I'm wrong. I made a mistake. But you also have to learn that there has to be a balance with your emotions and teaching them how to treat you and you how to treat them, because you cannot hold each other hostage as well. There has to be a point to where is the resolve? Where is the end to the guilt?
You have to work through that guilt. I don't think it leaves overnight because I've cried, blamed myself, got quiet, got loud. It just takes different things. But one of the things I had to do was sit in it. I had to feel it. And then, but I had to process through it because I wasn't going to let the guilt turn to condemnation. Because then you're going to be very unhealthy in your parenting. You're going to give them too much. You're going to cover for them too much. You're going to be easily prey for manipulation. And our children are the master manipulators. And they will use your weakness against you to the max. I'm telling you, like, if they know that you guilty about it, oh God, they're going to play you like a fiddle. And it's not that they're bad. It's just what kid won't do whatever they need to get whatever they want?
Until they learn.
Learn.
Like me, myself, I was an only child, but I can tell you that through my duration of until I got siblings, I didn't have the expectations that I've seen, some other kids for my parents to do this and be that and give me this. I took pride in being independent. It first started with me because I don't want y'all to tell me no. And then it took because my mom's example was working hard and making it do what it do. So I never have been in a place to where like I made my parents feel guilty. I remember one time I did try to like throw off on my dad and he was like, hold up, swole up. I didn't tell you, you left school because you wanted to leave school, like making me be accountable because
For
I
your
could have,
actions, yeah.
yeah. But in that time, it's like, well, you could have done this and you could, no. And I was arrested in that moment immediately. And so that has taught me like how to stand up and have those expectations for my kids, because I saw with myself that nothing that life gave me I could not bear or understand. It taught me how to fall and get up. And as I grew, I knew what to bring to my parents. And then there are some things that I just had to learn, and it's taught me and made me be a better me.
Nick, throw a question up, Nick. Do you have one ready? If not, she got a whole list over here. But I want to hit some of the ones. Okay, what is the difference between talking to our kids now than whooping them? Okay, that's a good one. When I think I only had to whoop my children one good time. And if you are consistently physically whipping your children, it is a clear sign of disconnect in the relationship and lack of communication. Because after a while, because they loved me, now I didn't have all the skills, but they was always with me, and we spent a lot of time together and in our own little dysfunction. So they wanted to please me. So when you have that kind of relationship with your children, that they want to please you, then your tool is disappointment. Now, it don't have to be a belt. If Jared knew I was going to disappoint, they would prefer a whooping because they didn't want their dad to be upset with them. Because we talked, we communicate, we loved, we was close. And because of that, and our dysfunction even made us closer. You see what I'm saying? And so because of that, they didn't want, if you gotta beat your children all the time, you are not communicating enough, and they do not value the relationship yet. I'm gonna add a yet on there, because if they value the relationship, it has to be more than it's what the kids said. And my wife locked in after that, because they started giving her a name, Sergeant Slaughter or something. They start Sarge or something, because my wife is very structured, disciplined, from her closet to her stuff. She puts stuff back in the same place every time. Who does that? Like, who puts stuff in the same exact? And I know y'all in the comments will say, I do that, because all of y'all are the same. Not me. It's gonna be in so many different places that I'm gonna be looking for every. But it's the fact that, and so she was just giving them rules. Did you? And they wanted hugs, and they wanted kisses, and they wanted love, and she had to learn to do that. She had to learn the balance of that. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you should spare the rod. I am saying if all you're doing is beating them, then you're going to have to keep beating them. But if you would have a conversation, now why did you do that? Without screaming, hollering. When you do that, man, that hurt my feelings. That makes me struggle. That messes my day up. You don't want daddy like that. You don't want, these are the stuff that I used to say, instead of just, I'm gonna tear your behind up and pop, and whip them and throw them in the room. What? No communication, no talk, no, this is what you did wrong. No, this is what you can do better. Just a beating. Might as well be on the plantation, getting beat by master.
Yeah, it has to be a balance.
Has to be a balance.
They have to know that there are consequences, because for me, even with grounding and punishment, it got to a point to where we didn't have to say, because come in and you see phones on the dresser, you already know somebody gonna get in trouble. And majority of the time, we knew who it was.
Jara.
And because she would just surrender.
Here go my phone, daddy. Because
right,
she's gonna be calling you or
Mom,
something.
check the email, because oh God, so you just learn how Minister Keisha said, doesn't teach conflict resolution at all. And oftentimes it's because parents forget that we were little people who grew up that did not have all the tools, that don't have all the understanding, that don't have all the comprehension. So when a tough time does come up emotionally with you and a child, and something does occur, at least have the ability or the village around you to say that, like, let's come back from this, because they're going to be hiccups, especially as they get older, but not to the point to where you are held hostage. Because I really believe with parenting, I don't care how old you are, I have expectations for my children.
You will not develop a healthy emotional relationship with your beater. I use that as a word.
Right.
If somebody, like, that's why I don't let parents make me the boogeyman to their kids, because it's always, I'm gonna tell apostle. Don't tell apostle. Don't make me the one that they be scared of around that. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell your mom. No, don't make me be the bad guy, because you don't want to step up and say what needs to be said.
Well, not even not want to. They don't know how to.
That's true.
There's a lot of people who have been traumatized from their childhood, and so they don't discipline. You know, it's they no hands on, but then
balance is important.
You have monsters that without any discipline. So the balance of having conversation with communication and comprehension, that they know what it is. This is why you're being grounded. This is why mommy and daddy were upset, because when you were in school, you were talking, and when the teacher, it was time to take a test. So now detention, and you're grounded at home. You know, you have some parents who will not let you discipline their children because they, to this day, don't like discipline.
Facts. Next one, Nick. How do you deal with a teenage child that has lost respect for their parents?
Like, I can remember me being a teenager. I can tell you from a juvenile perspective, it's not that I had lost respect for her. I was lost in the world that she had created for me. Meaning her choice in her husband, I was
the casualty,
of that. So, but I did not know how to, my vocabulary was not expanded enough. My vocabulary was not mature enough. So me as a juvenile, I could not express myself to my adult parent to say, I am hurting. When this type of love that has been presented to me, it takes me, I am overwhelmed and in a turmoil, because the love that I thought that I wanted for my mother or for my father, this is not it. So I'm angry with that. You know, so those emotions, all of that wells up. So I would say to make sure that you start every day as a new beginning, that if you feel like a child has lost respect for a parent, the parent, that parent needs to sit in that seat of humility and figure out, you know, that child's personality, you know, when that break happened, go back to that break moment and see what happened to break that level of trust, to where now it's disdain and disrespect. And prayer, go with another mother who you see them, that they've walked this out, or they've gone through something, and now can you help me? Not just help me, pray with me, and then give me some tools so I can be a productive parent.
Good. Nick, next one. That's good.
Is that it?
Okay, shoot yours.
Okay, so
we got to hit this one. What about parenting? Because we were grading ourselves. Remember, you was asking what kind of grade do we have? I'll never give myself an A. I think I gave myself a C.
I said a C minus.
C minus. And now with adult children, and we're still working.
Well, that was our average, up to, I think we did really good. So now our average grade would be a C, us collectively. And that's because, why you gave yourself a C?
Well, when they're little, because I was distracted with their mother.
Okay.
And stuff I just didn't know, to be, you know what I'm saying? And then as an adult, I think the challenge is that I've lost, you lose a sense of control when they get older.
Tell me about it.
You lose a sense of control. Like, you could tell them, sit down, don't you move from that chair right there. stay right there in that chair. You can't do that to a 25, 30-year-old. You can't tell them sit there in that chair. They can walk, get in a car, and drive off while you sitting there looking cockeyed and crazy and not care because they're upset. And the fact that I have to allow them to be upset with me, I can't make them change their mind. I can't force them to get. I can't go in there and say, clean it. I'm finna go home, Dad. I ain't finna sit right. I can't force them and make them. And that's the challenge. You lose control. So now when you lose control, but then if you play your cards right, you gain relationship. So once you lose control, the adolescent control, but if you gain a relationship as an adult, you get back some sense of control. Not that you're trying to control them, but what you do is your voice still matters. Your voice matters because I'm not trying to make them do anything. If they're doing stuff that they want, that's their business. If they going where they go, that has to be their business. I cannot look at them. I have to hug them. I have to love whatever they choose. All I can do is insert wisdom. I cannot insert dictation. I can't dictate to them what they're going to do. All I can offer is wisdom. And I have to be okay with that wisdom, even if it doesn't unlock to 3 years later. Because sometimes it's a capsule wisdom. You know, the capsules, if you have a regular pill, it dissolves quickly. A capsule is delayed. So once the acids in your stomach deteriorate or destroy the capsule, now comes the medicine. That's how wisdom works with adult children. The capsule hadn't broke yet. So don't think that they don't hear us or don't hear you. They hear you, but sometimes it takes time for it to penetrate and start making sense to them. And you have to be humble enough to wait for that time and not try to force it because you think you know what's right for them. You may be right, but they may not see it as right for them right now. What are you gonna do with that? You gotta accept that.
Yeah, I like Quentin's question was, how do you have a relationship with a child that does nothing but push you away? Quentin, I wouldn't say is necessarily an older or which where they fall in line of lineage. I think it's just the personality of the child who is, and
the environment that they're being raised in.
The environment, the influence, and also to how that child feels about he or she, him or herself. Often we are taking the blame and the punches and the bruises for something that, just like how Dad just said, it just hasn't infiltrated them yet. You know, so you may have different relationships with different children at different phases. I remember myself during a time I had to ask my mom, like, did I just go ghost or whatever? But she was like, no, you just were living your life and I was letting you live your life. And I think the best thing about that is living your life, and what takes away the guilt of them a parent feels like they're being pushed away. Just chill, you know. It's because the pushing away is not necessarily them pushing you away, it's them finding themselves. And you feeling like you're getting pushed away is just because the tactics that you're trying don't work anymore.
You don't feel like they're working.
But you have to accept the fact that also too, that child may or may not want close proximity.
Yeah, and I have a 3-part remedy. Keep trying, wait, and be ready. That's all you can do. You cannot force, because see, the problem, the trouble happens is when, okay, I called, you won't call back. I went by, see it, she ain't want to see it. I keep trying. So then whoever, you just keep trying and you keep being the father, because you don't stop fathering because they don't think they need or want it. But there will come a time, and I just believe that with everything that's in me, that if one is estranged from their child, there is going to come a time that they may have to mature a little bit. They may have to grow up some. They may have to experience something. You don't know. They could be watching a show and they just slap them in the face and they call you crying like, oh my God, I didn't know that I needed you. But what will mess it up is if I respond like the child and say, well, forget you then. You don't want me to come, forget you. No, I'm not going to respond like you. because the Bible talks about fathers don't provoke your children to wrath. And I'm supposed to continue. I am supposed to keep being a father, even if they don't know they need one right now, and not personalize their actions.
Yeah.
And when the time come around, I'll be ready, and we can have those deep conversations.
And I think it comes to the stance of the parents, and now knowing that, because I know a lot of times that it seemed like I was away from my mama. I just knew I was doing stuff she wouldn't have approved, or I didn't want them to know about. So that was another reason. And I thought I was grown.
See,
when you think you're grown,
right.
And for me, the things that I did and some of the people who I did it with, I knew my mama disapproved. But so I wasn't like this generation. Now they feel like whatever I do, you have to accept it. I stayed away because I'm not going to push this on you. I'm not going to, I know what I'm doing. You already don't like it.
See, that was me. I didn't dislike my parents to the point that I couldn't be around them. I just was doing stuff I know they wouldn't like.
Right.
So I stayed away.
Right.
When I got myself together and act like I had some sense, I can come back around because I was no longer associated with the things that would be disrespectful for them. I was smoking and drinking and hanging and selling dope. I couldn't go hang around them smoking, hang around them drinking. My father's never taken a drink with me and never would. I couldn't hang with them to do that. You see what I'm saying? So because of that, that's when I stayed away. When I matured and realized that I can't do this all my life, then I come around. So it wasn't really my parents. It was me working out some stuff. So sometimes you can't personalize it. It may not be you. It may be they just got to grow up.
Yeah. And just like, and also too, you have some where I was just trying to prove to them I need them. And that didn't come off very respectful. It came off a little bit disrespectful and dishonorable. But when you think you've grown and you're doing things and you're not, like, I think the hardest part for me is like not having the openness with one who doesn't want it to be able to pour into. Like in this moment, I wish that, I'm thinking of my own life when I'm driving around crying, and I just wish that I knew what vulnerability was to be like, Mom, I'll never forget when I called her and I was asking her. It was just a point when I felt broken, and I think I had to be broken because I didn't have humility. I'm young, I could do this, and I don't need you guys. And I think that was the worst but best lesson that I taught myself, but it was the worst time for my parents. Because I went ghost. I was you look for me, I was in California. I was everywhere, So yeah, that was the best thing. It was, how do you define success as a parent? Or are there successful parents?
I think it's not a one size fit all success. It is. I think my success should be written by my kids.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I think my success as a husband should be written by you. I don't write that. I can't write it. Oh, I was a wonderful husband. I did. That's arrogant.
And her children shall call her blessed.
Yeah, that's what the Bible says. And her children shall rise up and call her blessed. So I think it's predicated on my children need to define if I've been successful or not as they mature, not when they're young and reckless, or they don't like you right now, or they can't stand you because you giving them discipline or you giving them wisdom, boundaries, and now they want, you won't never. I ain't talking about your angry little child. I'm talking about as they grow up a little bit and start coming, and then they can write, my parents were this, that, or the others. I don't think we can crown our own self successful.
Absolutely. And lastly, what's the most surprising thing about being a parent? I'll answer that. Like, for me, the most surprising thing that it made me a better...
Cries easily. That's what that hat says. She cries easily.
I think it's because, like, I realized that I was able to love, beyond myself. I was by myself for so long, and to come in, and now these little people are liking me and now loving me. Like, to hear them call me mom the first time, I'll never forget. Like, it was like, wow, it was literally a miracle. And so that's why, like, now I think the most surprising element of me coming into parenthood is that um it's what legacy really means. Like you said, to develop something to pour into a small vessel that you know is going to grow up and be their own person. And now we have to sit back and, just as the Bible, like, we have to give them back to God with that level of faith and understanding that, God, I may not understand or know what's going on with them, but they're in my prayers. But that's why I'm able to go to sleep at night. That's why I'm able to not fret. I'm not going to jump and think that everything that happens to them, I have to run and rescue them. It's not that. I don't carry their mistakes. I don't hold and say, oh my God, I can't show my face because my kids did such and such. That is not it. And they have never been in our environment for us to care about what people say. It's more or less like now waiting to see what the end's gonna be. So that surprising element of me being a better version of Christy and knowing that it's okay to make mistakes, and start over.
Give yourself grace. Let me ask you this, and this be last. Let me ask you this, because I know most people are getting married now with children. It is the norm is to be married with children. Very rarely are people getting married and they don't have kids. So blended families have become the norm.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone who's coming into a blended family situation and they are not your children biologically?
To absolutely be 100 with yourself that these are not my biological children, first and foremost. What does that mean? That I'm not coming in to take the place of the parent, same gender. I'm not coming in to discredit. I'm not coming in to make myself look big or feel better that I'm coming in for the rescue. I'm coming in, the love that I have for their parent is enough for me to say that I now love what's yours. That's why it's very important for people, because if you know you're going into a blended family, you have to have one that is mature enough to say, I can step up to the plate, or that has the wherewithal or capacity in their heart and their who they are to be able to come in. Because just because you and Billy Ray got it going on, that don't mean Billy Ray is father material. That doesn't mean Bessie Sue can nurture your children. It has to be something that's in them, or that you see in a relationship. One of the main things that I said that really sealed the deal with me was you being a hands-on parent. I saw that with other guys that I had dated, they provided for them, but they were not there. So that's why now coming in and now being married, it was to say, oh no, we're going to the PTA meetings together. We're going to meet the teachers together. These emails, we're going to look at these things together. So it wouldn't be a time to where it's, oh, you didn't tell me this. Oh no, I told my husband every single thing that came around. Now, how he dealt with that, it was because I need him to know. I didn't hold things from you, meaning like there were some things as they got older that was girl stuff that you didn't need to know. But when it came down to who they were as a person, I believe that all parents need that type of village or friendshipness, to where if you know something that's going on with my child, keep me in the loop respectfully, because I would do that for you, and that's just learning of how we need and learn from one another, because nobody's life or children or family are perfect. No, nobody's.
Well, I hope this blessed you. We've been talking about relationships, and the Lord led me to do this with my blessed one for this month.
That's cute.
Because I just think that this is important, and more importantly, for y'all to not sit back and think that we mastered all of this. Nobody, like, we learning new stuff like this whole year here is a new year of learning different ways of parenting. You never stop parenting.
Never.
My oldest baby is 30, in her 30s. 31.
See, you don't even
I
know.
said in her 30s. And she's still my baby. Like, I still parent her. And I think it's important that we show Jesus was on the cross, and you saw the piercing of his side, plucking out his beard. You saw the blood. You saw the beat. Isaiah said he was unrecognizable. So they didn't hide all of that in the Bible to let you see all of that. And I think it's important that y'all see that your leaders are human. We are navigating through some of the same stuff y'all navigating through, and giving God praise while we're doing it, and still serving and doing ministry. I can't take a break. When my daughter had a mental breakdown, I was still there. I was there for her, and I was there for y'all. I think it's critical that you show these stuff so that people will understand how God moves and works in one's life. 2 more questions. Okay, Nick, what are they, real quick? Many of us parents, based upon how we are parented, how do you navigate those situations that you have no experience, and teens who require an explanation because I said so doesn't work?
You got to dig deep. This is where, when you said having role models or mentors in your life, because our default is what we know. You can't pull off of, something that you've never been exposed to. So if you do parent like that, then you have to be accountable. That's where it's so important for the two parents to be growing with their kids, not letting them grow and you stay where you were when you first had them. So you got to learn how to navigate through the different situations, even not having experience. Portia, for me, I always ask Holy Spirit. And for me, Holy Spirit, if he didn't, I called mothers, I called my auntie, I called Dr. Pressure. I did those things because I knew that I did not have it. So the worst thing to do is sit around acting like you have it together and everything's falling apart. But no, I need help. So when they require an explanation, I have grown with them, and I know now because I paid attention to them. I see them taking longer walks with the dog. I see them staying after school a little bit longer. I see that they on the phone a little bit, whisper. So because I'm growing with them now, I'm aware. I'm just
oblivious.
See, and I'm waiting for you to come because I'm paying attention. I'm making mental note. So there is nothing that I can be just, you just sprung this on me. No, I knew. If I didn't know specifically, I knew what that child was capable of. So you can't throw me for a loop. And that's where when they require that explanation, you give it to them, and you got to give them truth. If you do not give your children truth, you set them up for failure to go into the real world, and the world will chew them up and spit them out. And this generation of these children now, social media has them so mixed up and confused to where the lack of respect and lack of honor, I will emphasize that until I can't breathe anymore, because that's what's missing, because we never stop parenting. I still want to have the relationships with the adult children if they are a man or a woman, but it's hard when your children grow up, or our children grow up and they become the men and women, like, oh, it's hard for me to bond with that kind of woman, but your child has become that type of person. So that's hard now, because now I got to entreat my adult children like my sisters and brothers in Christ as well.
Facts. Last one. Nick says one more. Last one. What if the biological parent not present and you being full-time parent, but the biological parents still have a certain reverence for the biological parent in regards to parenting the child.
Oh, does that mean that the biological parent is not there and you're in that stead, but the biological parent still the kids still hold the biological parent to a certain like they get I don't really understand that, but I can tell you that I was the full-time parent, but for me I allowed my children to have that reverence for their mother
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're very
because
good with
it's
that.
that's important. You are not going to be disrespectful. And I also too wasn't comparing myself to her. I looked for ways to implement her into their lives. I looked for ways for them to spend time together. I looked for ways for them to have that relationship that I know that they all needed each other.
See,
I have to say this.
Okay,
I did not erase the fact that now that I come in, they don't need anybody else.
See, I think it is unfair for and I'm not saying Mike, this your situation, but I think it's unfair for a bonus parent to come in and expect a child to change, acclimate to them. I love what my wife did. She came in and won my children. I think you should come in to earn it, win it. You want to earn them. You have to have a maturity level to realize I'm the mature one. I am going to win them. They are immature, so I have to win these immature children to know who I am, to value who I am. You don't do it by force.
Do it by voice.
You do it by voice. I like that. You don't, if someone is following you by force, they're a slave. When you're not leading them, you're their master. And when you follow somebody by choice, then you are their leader. When they follow you by choice, you're their leader. And so I think you should come in trying to win them, not with a bunch of gifts and different things, but conversation, being present. That's what Coach K did. Like I wasn't like when she came in, it's like I clocked out. I clocked out. I was so exhausted from the previous marriage and trying to juggle church, children, and this marriage on my own. I was so exhausted that I checked out. She came in and was present and warned them to the fact that I started acting like the step parent, if you want to know the truth. And that's what I think is important, that you go in to win them, not to go in there and say, you're not going there. My wife didn't come in and say, you know what your child just said to me? No. Have some sense of reconciliation, some sense of coping, or no, what's the word? Problem solving. That's the word. Conflict resolution. Be the conflict resolution. You don't have to run in there and say, come get your child. She talking. No, come on, talk to me. What happened with that? What was that about? I'm not this, I'm not that. You got a problem with me? Let's talk about it.
And for example, remember when our son, because of what they had gone through, see, what we have to learn too, and I feel like I wish we would have known what to ask regarding what you guys had gone through before, but seeing the remnants of it trickling down, that not only were you angry, but so was our son. So remember, it was like, why is I'm the parent who's paying attention. I see he's liking girls, but you only liking a certain kind of
skin tone.
So let's have this conversation. But again, he really could not articulate that. And so that wasn't something that I asked, because it came out with prayer. And remember that one Mother's Day time that he was very vulnerable. And I feel like it loosed him, the shackle that he had on his heart to protect him and from being in survival mode, that now he can be a loving,
safe,
he can
father
with
I knew you was gonna be crying all this night.
Because I love how, it's like a double-edged sword, the love that you have. And with being having a blended family, I don't think that bonus parents like myself, like I never felt like a step parent. You know, when things, you know, you can if you allow it. But to know that my heart was in it, but blended, I don't think bonus parents get enough of, like, not saying that we need accolades, but the support that we need, because emotionally there's no handbook to say what do I do when I go into these other this world that's their world. You know, that can be intimidating, that can be fearful, that can be all those trauma. Because let me tell you, I read this somewhere, and it, unhealed people who are still hurting, that grow up and who are now parents, they don't hear with their ears, they hear with their triggers. And so when you hear with triggers, it don't matter where it come from. If it's a child, a teenager, like now, oh, I'm gonna get you. That's why I can't. That's why I don't like your son. That's why I don't like your daughter. She too, because you have not grown up.
Right.
You are not mature enough emotionally to, like, when you told me you can't stoop to their level, like I was mad, so I just got in the car and left. Like, I don't know what to say. But after that, it was, you got to get in and get knee deep, because you are the parent and I'm giving you permission. It's like it was you saying that I trust you enough to come in and implement what it is that we need, because obviously you have what we need. So do it.
All right, because we're going and going. Listen, I know this blessed you. It's blessed us tremendously to share it, and we're gonna pray. But what I want you to do is grab a seed. I ain't hurting us, so just grab a seed, put it in the ground, and when you come back, we're gonna pray. We're gonna pray for you and your children and grandchildren. Grandparents have to add grandchildren into the equation. My sweet grandson and my sugar and my soon to be grandson. So we're gonna pray for you, but I want you to drop a seed. Put the giving. Go ahead and sow a seed, and we're going to pray for you and your children before we close this out. Shed some tears. I know that's
well,
right.
That's why I said I'm so glad that you allowed us to even have these conversations, because there are so many people who are suffering. You know, I'm not in the best parenting season heart-wise, because it's like, what do you do with these kids? And I don't want to just focus on just my grandkids and not the kids. But it's also, like I said, the question before, that our kids are trying to prove to us in this season. I think that, you know, I think that they see so many other children who are called to us spiritually, that they say, well, let me do this over here. And not speaking for them, I'm just saying, I know that there's a level of independence that some children think that they need to display or portray. And all I can tell you, that even me being an only child with my parents, my sister came through marriage, and my brother is 14, 15 years younger than me on my dad's side paternally. So it's just the learning part of, where do I as a child, where do I fit in when I go visit my, you know, family, my dad with his wife and my little brother. I that was awkward for me, because that was different for me. So all these instances and the dynamics have to be considered, and that's what makes us, there is no perfect way or a perfect bonus parent. But I will tell you that the situation, if the two that are married are in agreement, and also too, I love the fact that you
come back, Nick. We about to pray.
You made it safe for me to be able to share my insecurities throughout the years, and be safe enough to say that, all right, now this is what we need. Although, like, you never made me feel like I was the other mother and not their mother. So I appreciate that.
Father, thank you for everyone watching, everyone that participated tonight. I pray, God, that you would touch that mother, that you would touch that father, that you would touch those children, those grandchildren, that bonus parent that's struggling. Give them strength, peace, help them to give themselves grace, and be patient. And Father, I thank you, Lord, that every need is provided. Thank you, God, that you are making ways and you know the plans you have for us.
Thank you, God.
Plans to prosper us, to give us a hope and an expected end.
Thank you, God.
And we give you praise that we can participate in the development of amazing humans that you've created and you've given us oversight to. And I thank you, Lord. We're their
Thank you, God.
overseers, but they
Thank you,
belong to
Lord.
you.
Yes.
And so, Father, I praise you now.
Yes.
Your
God.
word say if we train them up
Yes.
and the way
Lord.
they should go when they're old, they won't
Lord,
depart.
they won't depart.
So, Father, I thank you that we will be ready and that you are preparing them. And I bless you now
Yes.
for every child represented,
Yes.
every parent represented.
Every parent.
Bless them, God. Touch
Yes,
them.
Lord.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Love y'all.
Grace and peace. See y'all Sunday.